Okay, so this is a short little video with, I guess, some advice and tips about learning mathematical material. You've kind of gotten some of it from the Math Camp materials and honestly, really from the Math Camp structure. But I want to say a little bit more now. Um, so I just finished making a video for you all about why you should want to learn probability, even though it is admittedly an unnatural process. It doesn't come easily to most of us. And just returning to a point I made there, it's not why most of you guys came to grad school. You came to grad school because you're interested in problems in political science or sociology, geography, anthro, education, all those various important substantive fields that you guys are here to advance our knowledge in. Okay, but the reason why learning probability will help you in that task of advancing knowledge in your chosen field, that's in the previous video. This is on a narrower point. So acknowledging that this material, probability, the mathy stuff, doesn't come naturally to people, and acknowledging that it can be frustrating and discouraging. Okay, so I just want to say some things about that fact, how to interpret it, how to make it better, how to not let it get you down. The most important thing, I think, to realize, if you find yourself feeling frustrated and you spent more than an hour on a problem and it's not going anywhere good and you feel like you more confused than when you started, resist the temptation to think, oh, I knew it. I'm just not cut out for this math stuff. Don't think it's about you. It's not about you. The material is hard. It's hard for everybody. Okay? So don't take it personally. Don't feel alone. In this, where we are in your graduate education, you guys are coming in with all different backgrounds, and some of you are much further along a journey than others of you, but you're going to catch up a lot this year. And for those of you who haven't been doing a lot of math over the past years, to the extent that you were able to participate in Math Camp, I'm sure that that has certainly helped you, maybe certainly more than you realize now. But that's going to continue. You're going to continue to progress at a rate that's faster than you realize. So just like accept that, be patient, be optimistic. There are sort of two traits that I can wish for you guys, or even if you don't feel like you are a particularly patient and optimistic person, if you can fake it for this quarter, you will be better off. So really cultivate that. Cultivate acceptance that you won't necessarily feel comfortable with this material at the beginning, and it will seem like you're not showing improvement, but by the end of the quarter, you're going to be a lot better at mathematical thinking than you were before. You're also going to know a lot more probability. Okay. So that patience and optimism is what you need to, we're getting a little bit more practical here, to be consistent and active in your approach. Okay, so patient and optimism, those are attitudes. Consistency and activity, these are like actions you need to take. So let me say a little bit about both of those things. You will get so much more out of this class if you are consistent in the sense of working on it, I would say 5 days a week. If you can do something for 200A at least 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes, if you don't have more than 30 minutes, you're much, much better off doing that 30 minutes today and scheduling a longer session on a different day. Okay? It really is to bring out analogies that I told you about in Math Camp and that I'm going to return to throughout the course. It is like learning a language. It is like learning an instrument. It is like getting in shape. You're not going to do it in one big long session. Short, consistent work is what's going to pay off over weeks. Okay, so you're not going to see improvement maybe day to day, but come mid-October, you're going to be already in a better position than you are now. So consistency. Math is not something you can binge. you have to do it frequently. Okay. The other practice that I really want to advocate is to be active in your learning. I have a feeling, I guess I have this feeling because when I told my kids this, they rolled their eyes at me. And I have the feeling some of you guys might be, you'd be too polite to roll your eyes if we were in the same room, but when you're watching the video, you might be rolling your eyes when I'm sitting here pounding the pulpit about how important it is that you take notes with pencil and paper. This is not, these videos, or if you prefer the notes, neither of those things are things that you can just sort of flop back and let it wash over you. Okay, you have to be writing it out yourself. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know why this sort of writing out what you're seeing somebody do. I don't know how that helps you learn, but it is consistently true that that is a thing that helps everybody. If you just sit there and watch, it's not going to do you nearly as much good as if you are taking notes with pencil and paper. The more you are writing math, the better you will get at it. Taking notes with pencil and paper while you're going through the lessons will set you up to be writing out your the work for your quiz answers and practice writing out those practice problems as well. Another thing that's not nearly as important as this writing out. Actually, there's one other thing I want to say about writing things out. One of the reasons why I do my thing here, I'm not really using the board for this class. Maybe I will write the things I've talked about so far. I want you to have patience and optimism so that you can approach the class with consistency and active approach. One of the reasons why I will do most of my work with Apple Pencil on an iPad, I would do it on a whiteboard if we were in person, rather than having PowerPoint, which I could prepare in advance, which would not have so many mistakes, which would certainly be neater. The reason why it is that I learn better when I am watching a real human being write it out in the way that I am writing out. And again, I don't really understand why that is true, but it is. And that's, so try it out. Try it out this quarter, see if it helps you. It's only 10 weeks if it doesn't. I'd also really encourage you to kind of keep all your written work together. I have my little spirals. I had one for math camp where like I did all my planning in it, and I've got another one going for 200 egg, and it seems sort of very hokey and old school, but it helps me engage my mind in a way that I've never been able to duplicate on the computer. Okay. So one other tip here is you're part of a support network, okay? You guys support each other. I'm here to support you. The TAs are here to support you. The department's here to support you. All the departments are here to support you, and you'll be supporting each other, okay? So when you're discouraged about how things are going, reach out. Reach out, and even if you're not right now feeling connected to people, form those connections. The people who you make friends with, the relationships you develop in your PhD program, that's going to stay with you the rest of your life. Those are going to be the people who you turn to for support and advice at every step in your career. And the more you can do to foster those relationships, the better off everybody will be. Okay, so reach out when you need help. When somebody reaches out to you, do your best to help them. I'm always here. I'm happy to help you with any aspect. So don't be afraid to ask for that. Because the thing I want to end with is back to my analogies. What is learning math like? And let me maybe start with what learning math is not like. It is not like your typical political science course or your typical course in most social science subjects. So way back in the day when I was first hired, I taught Congress for many years, standard upper division course on the U.S. Congress. And that was the kind of course that you didn't have to take notes with pencil and paper. And I wasn't assigning problem sets. And you could, as a student, show up and hear my lecture on how the House Rules Committee works and just pay attention to it and learn it. And that would be great. Okay, that you would learn what you were supposed to do just by listening to me talk. And even better, if I gave you stuff to read, you could learn just by reading that stuff and just sort of absorbing the knowledge. This class is not like that. What this class is more like is learning a language. I can stand up here and I can tell you all about how to conjugate verbs in German and give you lists of vocabularies and things like that. But if you don't go and start talking, you're not going to speak German. Or learning an instrument. I can sit here and talk to you about, how to make a chord on a guitar and how to change chords and, oh, here's a scale and this is how you tune it and things like that. And if you don't put your fingers on those strings, you're not going to be able to play guitar. Or it's like getting in shape. I can talk to you about training programs and running form and how other runners have trained. You could sit there and you could read Runner's World cover to cover, but unless you go out there and do those miles, you're not going to improve. Okay, so math is in that kind of category. And there's a little bit of a silver lining here. The reason why we are doing all of this online right now is not a happy one. The pandemic is not a happy situation, and I'm really looking forward to the day when we can all be together and do our workshops together. But a really good thing about it is forcing me to change this class in a way that I have long thought would be helpful, to put the focus more on workshops and problem solving, and to condense the lecturing into smaller videos that you can watch whenever you want to, so that when you think back on 200A, what I hope you are thinking back on is the work you did in workshops and study sessions and doing problems on your own, because that's where the learning will happen. So with that, looking forward to seeing you in class.